when you're aligned to yourself truly and you're very in tune with yourself, whatever is happening around you, you can actually shift it by not trying to change anything, by really being present to what's here. And you're good at that anyway. But I think in that fine tuning and refining these qualities that are already there, you got to practice that, right? And it is now you're just kind of moving with what you said to me yesterday, something about, I'm just trying to go with the flow. And and your design is actually super structured, but you also have fluidity, right?
I'm just super grateful. My relationships are better. Like, I feel like the things that have been causing me more stress, the people or things, just kind of what happens is they start to clash with you. So they just go away because and it's an energy thing. The energies are not, matching anymore. And sometimes what feels familiar is because it's not good for us because of our childhood trauma. So being able to distinguish, familiar, and then, what is my intuition telling me about this, that is not good for me. So just navigating through that has been new for me, is to really pay attention that there's two different things going on there. What is comfortable may not actually be good for me.
Mm-hmm. And also, we did a lot of, we did some trauma releases, we really went in and did some childhood stuff. You've got to go in and do that. But would you say that was pretty easy to get through? Because a lot of people think releasing childhood traumas are so painful and difficult.
For me, it's not, but I feel like I've done a lot of, I'm not going to, I think any kind of help that people get is good. So I'm not going to knock any kind of help, therapy, whatever
Oh,
there,
sure.
because there are times where we need to sit and talk about this stuff for a while.
It
For
depends.
me, I believe that we can't get past it until we let go and shift through it. So I don't need to go back and talk about stuff from the past and dwell on it. Now, might bring it up for, like we would talk beforehand to kind of give, you information to like, what should we work on? So I would just kind of ramble in the beginning, and then we were able to find the things that you were able to go, okay, I think this is what we need to work on. And I knew through that rambling that you would be able to figure it out.
You don't really ramp
Um,
that much. I mean, you don't need to, especially in the beginning of working with me. Sometimes, I don't really know all the details. So once I start hearing some stories, I can feel that the patterns start to expose themselves. And yeah, I'm not knocking anything, but therapy is great for some people. I don't want to tell anyone that their therapy isn't good. And I mean, I did therapy for many years. And then when I've discovered this other stuff, I'm like, I don't want to talk about that stuff keep fueling the mind over and over. And whatever help is out there, people are going to find what's correct for them at their level. Absolutely.
so for me, this was the best way to work through those deeper things that maybe I hadn't quite fully released. Even all the work that I've done, we were able to pull out some kind of lingering stuff
Yeah.
that I think is helping me in my professional life and my personal life, and even just in general. Even I think it was this morning I said that I want to flow through my weekend because I am very structured, but I realize that too much structure puts me too much in my masculine. So I have to kind of just let go and just flow now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have really come through things so quickly. I would say that even that you're implementing the breathing, the
Mhm.
practicing
Yep.
breath, right? You're able to really regulate
Hmm.
the nervous system, which is really important for all of us, and your emotions. It's not like this was all brand new, but we were able to get into those sticking points that are not that easy to find because they hide underneath of things, right? You tend to, for me, you appear pretty relaxed and steady anyway. That's kind of your natural thing. But it seems to me that you're even more so because you're settled inside of yourself with your decision making process. I think that's been a big thing for you.
That is definitely so much more clear, as I mentioned before, is the process that I need to go through
Mhm.
to get to a decision, and that it's okay that I don't answer, and that I can tell people I'm not ready to answer you right now.
Right.
So I'm a more clear, and I'm okay that that's the type of person that I am. So it's making it easier for me to, go through life for sure.
Well, it's how you're built. If you know how you're built, if you have a map to that, that makes life so easy. Fortunately, you had a birth time in order to get your strategy and authority. For anyone who wants to know, something called humandesignamerica.com. Thing is, you may or may not know how to utilize that. It may sound like some kind of cryptic words, I'm a generator. I have sacral authority. What does that mean? But thank you so much. I feel like we've covered literally everything in at least in a good, broad, pretty broad way, and some more zoomed in ways. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time. Thank you for your
Thank
help,
you.
because I wouldn't be doing this with you uh, had I not found you
I'm
forever.
very grateful for our friendship, and just how, yeah, just it's really great when you find people that you're able to really work together, because something in friendships that last a long time, there's going to be ups and downs. And it's so great that, you don't want one person who's taken on too much of the weight. And the friendships that last the longest are when you're able to, really help each other when the other person's not doing well. So you just kind of flip back and forth, it's a give and take. And I think that when people get in relationships where there's too much, being taken from them, that's where they're out of balance and it becomes an issue.
Well, we have a lot of harmony between us, and you've seen me at my absolute worst ever. And I was just totally open with you because I mean, how else could I get better? And there was nothing that was helping me at the time for reasons that I'm not going to talk about right now. But things have shifted and changed, and you've seen a huge change in me as far as where my minerals were so
Mhm.
imbalanced. And now the balance, it allows me to really do what I used to do before I got really sick. And
Mhm.
even,
Mhm.
being this body. Plus, as you know, I do so much of the grounding spiritual work. I don't know a better word to say for that. That's just a way to define it.
Mhm.
Um, um, and having my classes and seeing people. But for me, it's really the work is really undoing the old habits and practicing
Mhm.
free. And that's what I'm watching you do before my very eyes. I mean, your business, your work, which is two different things, your
Yeah.
relationships, your new house, your everything is just kind of completely
Mhm.
moving out. And it's gorgeous to see that. It's a delicious thing. That's the whole point of why most of us work and serve others, to help them be better at who they really are. That's I don't care what the job is. I don't care if it's a janitor or the person who is really in alignment with themselves is doing something to better themselves in the world.
Mhm. And when you're in alignment, life is definitely easier when in alignment. It is so much easier. Like I've been wanting to buy a dining room set, for a couple months, and I've been looking online. I do kind of a due diligence thing where I'm looking around, and then I went to a store today. I went to a second store, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I think that's it. That's the table. And it was just so easy. It'll be here this week, and other things that I was looking at, would it be ready till like January? And this was in a good price range. It'll fit. It's perfect. It was easy. Because I kind of already went through a process that when I found the right thing, it was easy for me to say, yes, this is
To
it.
recognize it, yeah. And
Yeah.
plus, when you're in that alignment, in that flow, you're using your breath, you're sitting back and observing, you're not scrambling and having to do all kinds of stuff. So things just keep getting easier. So
Yeah, I sat in the store for 20 minutes. I sent a picture to my mother. I talked to her on the phone about it. I sat at the table for a while, like it was in my living room. I just sat there and then I was able to go, okay, this is it. Find the salesperson and buy it. But I knew that I had that process, but it was so easy for me to go through it without saying, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. I just flowed through the process that works for me.
We've had a lot of practice now, so you can move through the waves pretty quickly without any resistance. Because the more we have resistance, the harder things get, and we don't realize how much we resist everything. Avoiding anything is resistance. Not knowing how to feel the feeling is resisting. It's all resistance. But once you start getting into that, I like to call it like a groove. It is a groove. You get into this clip, and suddenly there's a lot of serendipitous things that start just unfolding, falling in your lap, coming into being. And I've watched you have a lot of that happen too. So, and when you have that, then I feel like I have that,
Yeah.
It's not just a feeling. It's like, it's being demonstrated in our world around us, and we can both see it. It's really quite lovely.
Well,
So
and that's the thing. If people are like trying to change the world, we're looking at people are looking at news and all these, bad things that are going on. But the only thing that we can really do is work on ourselves, because when we work on ourselves, it radiates into our relationships. And if some people aren't ready for it, that's okay. We can bless them and say goodbye. But overall, it does make our relationships better. And I know that when I'm doing the work, it does trickle, especially when you're in a leadership executive type position. I think that there's a sense of responsibility that you're doing the self work, and because it affects the people in your life. If I'm showing up at work every day in a bad mood and I'm taking it out on the people that work for me, that's not going to help them. So it's my responsibility to do my work so that they don't feel, and I don't know. I think anybody in a leadership position should be doing some kind of self-development work.
That's what I'm calling out to conscious leaders. And the other thing is as you do this, the trust in yourself just radiates, as you said. And not only just that, the people around you who hired you for this big role, it doesn't have to be a big role. Someone else may be doing a different kind of role than you are. But any role that you have, when people start trusting you, that's really where you can see in the world around you what you're projecting as a reflection of yourself. And when you start being able to trust, and that comes through this strategy, this authority, this really leaning in and it's like a clicking into yourself. That's when things just start moving, even outside in that world around us, that crazy, crazy world, even that can shift. So I always say, keep practicing freedom, keep practicing your clarity, keep practicing your breath, keep practicing your decision making, your being. And being sounds like a word that's like fluffy, but really means you're practicing being in the now. And in the now, there's never any problem. In the actual now, if you're truly there, not in the future, not in the past, not some other place, it expands everything. And that's what you were really excellent at doing with me, that we did together. You were very good at being able to just come into yourself and stick the landing, so to speak. So I think we covered everything. Have we covered everything?
Yes.
I love it. I probably have to put this in a couple different groups. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm very grateful for you, and I love the work that you do. And I'm grateful that over the last 4.5 years, you've gotten to this place, because you being healthier, the work that I do with you, because you came to me, helps you, and it just trickles down. So I'm grateful.
I am too. And we've had we've done other little projects together on the side too, like,
Yes.
graphics and things like that, because that's kind of one of the things I love. And we work so quickly together. And again, as we move inward to ourselves more, there is that alignment. You said it earlier. You start shedding friends that don't work, and some people are afraid of that, but it will happen naturally, right? And the naturalness of our own kind of we reach a certain level where some things just can't continue that way, especially if you're a conscious leader. And you don't have to be in a big job to be a leader. I think we're all leaders in our own way. You're leading your life, right?
Everybody is. Yep.
So I like to call my definition of leadership is greater than just, I'm an entrepreneur leader. You could be that too, but we are learning to lead our lives. And as we get older, we start recognizing what's more important than some other things that when we were young that we had to go through. We had to do some stupid things or a lot of stupid things or things that weren't fun, or we had to learn some lessons. That's how we discover it in this human body. So I'm really, really grateful because again, I still eat perfectly the way that I learned from the very beginning from you. And it's again, both of the paths that we guide and coach others to do, they're narrow paths. The narrow path is not, it means you're really ready for what I call self-aware care. It's being aware and being kind and compassionate with yourself, getting out of judgment, right? But it is a narrow path, so it takes some diligence. It takes perseverance to really just stay on that path as best you can, and that is what brings us bountiful results, really, life results where we shift.
Thanks for having me.
So nice to see everyone. Take care.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.